Hello, fellow travellers and others. That Scottish accent keeps coming out, but I'm wearing my kilt, so I think it's okay. Kilt and a ghillie shirt. I'm absolutely loving the ghillie shirts. I used to wear these all the time. Not worn them for ages. Sorry, ramble. You must be used to that if you've been following me along. So I wanted to do a quick video about the NC500 tour that I've just finished. I thought, what better place to do it than sat on the porch at the cabin that me and the wife have got for this week. And this video, specifically, I want to go through my highs and lows for last week. I want to do it now while it's fresh in my mind, partly so that I can remember those highs and lows for coming weeks and months. So let's start off with the highs. Well, no, I'm going to start off with the lows, because the lows is a much smaller list than I thought. I've only actually got 2 low points for the whole week. The first one was day one and the rain, and I do mean the torrential rain that I had to ride through on my way up through Yorkshire towards the Scottish borders. I got so drenched, I really did. It was not fun. The second sort of low point, and this covers like 2 days really, was the first night camping. And then the second day, realising that I felt like I'd given up. I felt like I'd failed on my sort of adventurous mission. So on the first night, I got to my camp spot. I did the video about my little camp spot on the first night. I was just north of the border, just north of Kelso. I'd found somewhere where I could camp, where I could wild camp it, set myself up. I got so cold. I really did. In hindsight, it was a really bad idea trying to camp at that time of the year. So yeah, we live and learn. I shouldn't have brought all the camping gear with me, but never mind. So on the second day, on the morning, I woke up with the intention of going to the Kelpies. I'll come back to that in a minute. Went to the Kelpies, looked at the weather forecast while I was having a coffee. It said that it was going to forecast -6 overnight on the Sunday night. And I thought, I can't do that. And I had to give up on the idea of wild camping at that point. And I went and found myself a glamping pod. In hindsight, glamping wasn't the right idea. I should have looked at the hostels. Again, that's part of my high points, actually, that I'll come back to later. But when I got to the glamping pod that night, I felt defeated, I think is the only real word. I felt like I'd given up on the plans that I'd had. What I now realise, and I realised quite a bit later on in the day, on the Monday, in the Monday evening, actually, I hadn't given up, I hadn't been defeated. My plans had changed, and that's part of an adventure. You need to understand that an adventure isn't going to go to plan as such, and you need to roll with the punches. And that's something that I wasn't willing to do on the first night. I thought I had to stick to my plan. Comes down to part of my anxiety. I suffer with anxiety. I always have done. I feel like it's got brilliant this week, and I don't feel like I've really suffered with it at all this week. But there you go. So they're really the only 2 low points of the whole week. On the high point side then, setting off. I've planned this for a year. In fact, I've wanted to do it for about 14 years, ever since I first got my first bike. So when I actually set off on that first morning, wow, what a rush. It was fantastic. Obviously, crossing the border on that first day, getting north of the Scottish border was a real hit. I needed that because it was such a long day riding, and all I was riding for was to get north of that border. The Kelpies, wow. If you see my videos on the Kelpies, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's stunning. The 2 statues, sculptures of horses' heads as though they're coming out of the water, and they are massive. What a visit, what a place to see. I was really glad that I did that. It gave me the dawning realisation that I couldn't camp while I was at the Kelpies, so whilst that was a low point, it was also a high point. Because that then gave me the realisation that on the Friday, I ploughed on for distance on the Monday. On the Monday, I was ploughing on for distance, and whilst I was ploughing on for distance, I then started realising that I didn't need to stop at every tourist attraction going. The point of the trip for me was to ride on my motorcycle, the NC500. I wanted to experience the roads, not be looking for the next turning for the next tourist attraction all the time. And I had that realization on the Monday while I was riding from the Hobbit Hole I'd stayed at on the Sunday night. It was brilliant, it really was. As part of that realization, I also realized I couldn't camp it because it just was too cold. And again, I sort of gave up and I decided to go to a hostel. Now, a lot of you are probably like me and thinking hostels are not something that you go to unless you've got absolutely no other choice. And like me, you're wrong. They're brilliant. There's a real atmosphere for them that I hadn't comprehended. And you know what? Before I was on my meds, I probably wouldn't have even contemplated going to, because I hated being in that sort of an environment. But actually, I really enjoyed that about the hostels. The first one that I stayed in, which was Sandra's bunkhouse or whatever it's called up in Thurso, it was nice. It was serviceable and about a little bit better than what I expected, to be honest, which is quite nice. The second one that I stayed at, which was the Tuesday night, I actually stayed the Tuesday night and the Wednesday night there. Forest Way bunkhouse, just south of Ullapool. Beautiful place, beautiful setup, really loved it. The third one I stayed at, Saddle Mountain, was stunning. I've been to shabbier 4-star hotels than that hostel. It was absolutely immaculate. The setup, the layout, obviously everything was clean, but that's a bare minimum that you expect from these places. But the setup and the layout was just fabulous. And then the one that I stayed in on the last night, which was the Fort William Backpackers, again, better than I ever would have imagined them to be. Really nice environment. There was quite a lot of foreign tourists there that were backpacking as well. And actually, the foreign tourists made the experience for me. Something I never thought I'd say. So that was my hostel realisation and dawning. I'm definitely going to do hostels again. Really good fun. Carrying on with my high points then. John O'Groats. I wanted to get to John O'Groats so badly. And it felt like once I got there, I could then relax into the rest of the tour. Because John O'Groats is this place that everybody wants to get to on the NC500. In actual fact, when I got there at 8 in the morning because I wanted to avoid any crowds that might turn up. I didn't want the crass commercialisation of the place. I just wanted the views and I wanted that photo with the signpost. And I found it fantastic from that point of view. So really happy with that. Another high point was the North Road, because the road going across from John O'Groats to Durness, it wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting a decent sized A road. It was actually all single track roads with passing places all over the place. It was amazing. I wish I'd had the GoPro working at that point, because the views from up there were just fantastic. Definitely worthwhile coming up here again just to do that North Coast Road. I'm not sure if the wife's going to enjoy doing it in a camper van, which is going to be the next time that we do the NC500, but yeah, it's good anyway. And then the sort of last real high point for me was Applecross. Now, I did Applecross twice. The first time I did it, it was raining. The clouds were so low I couldn't see 20 feet in front of me while riding the bike, and coming down the really steep roads, it was painful. It was not fun at all. The second time I did the Applecross, I went up the Applecross, Balachne Bray, I think it's called, which is the mountain road to Applecross from Strathcarron, in absolute sunshine, blue skies. It was amazing. I did a video with the route. It was fantastic. It really was brilliant. And then doing the Applecross Coast Road as well, again in the sunshine, just amazing. Absolutely amazing. As a whole, this trip has been really good for me personally. I've made some realizations for myself about where I am and where I might want to go with my future. I'm not so panicky about work all of a sudden, because I think I know the way that work needs to go, which is great news for me, hopefully great news for the company I work for as well. And generally speaking, it's just been a really brilliant experience. I've got to put big thanks to the support that I've had from my current social network, at the core, the nutrition club. The nutrition club has given me vitality that I didn't think was possible. I really didn't. I love the products that I use for my breakfasts, for my snacks, because they've really helped fuel me. John, Kaylee, Jen, all the other guys at the core, at the nutrition club that I go to, thank you ever so much for the support. You don't know how much it's meant to me. Obviously, the other really big thank you is to my beautiful lady wife, who has supported me on this whole trip, smirking away while she's doing a cross stitch over there. I couldn't have done the trip without her support, not just because she helped look after the kids while I was away and she looked after the house and everything, but because she was there to support me when I had the low moments. I remember phoning her from Wick when I'd given up on the idea of camping and I was going to look for a hostel. I was really worried that she was going to tell me we couldn't afford it and I had to camp anyway, but instead she said, no, don't worry about it, I'll throw an extra 150 in the pot, that'll cover you for your hostels. She was so supportive. I can't say how much it meant to me. I really can't. So that, I think, is my thanks and my highs and my lows for the week. Would I do it again? God, yeah. In fact, I will be doing it again. Maybe not next year, maybe the year after. We're going to do it with a camper van and the bike next time round. And I think the way that we're going to probably do it is I ride the bike from point to point, Fliss drives the camper van. If I get there before her, I'll sit and have a chill out while I'm waiting for her. If she gets there before me, she can get tea on foot. No, that's not going to happen. But it's going to be good fun. And hopefully we can do it all four of us in the camper van and on the bike at that point. And my lad's probably going to be old enough at that point as well that he can go on the back of the bike with me if he wants to, which, hey, that'd be great. Right, I'm going to sign off for the moment, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching my videos of the NC500 as I've been doing it. I've really appreciated any comments that you've put in there. And I've really enjoyed getting my channel going again. So thanks very much for putting up with me while I've been learning the ropes again on this. Okay, guys, thanks very much. I am Toast, and I have travelled.